Okay, round 12 of the URC is here to keep us busy during the rest weekend of the Six Nations. All 16 clubs are in action this weekend, and there's some great fixtures coming up. My first URC video on this channel. Very excited to get into it on the channel. I mean, I've been watching it this season here and there when I can, watching all the highlights especially. But yeah, let's get into URC predictions for round 12. As you can see from this graphic beside me, we're starting off with Munster at home down in Cork this round, playing against Edinburgh, and yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. Munster are 5th in the table, Edinburgh a bit lower down. I think they're 10th or 11th or something, but the points difference isn't actually huge between these two teams. I think it's about 1 game difference, so it should still be quite tight. Obviously, Munster haven't lost too many players because most of their players don't make the Irish team. No, of course, they got some fantastic players, like Peter O'Mahony, Conor Murray, away with Ireland, Jack Crowley. But there's still some class players playing for Munster. We've got the likes of, Josh Hodnett here, Alex Nankerville and Tom Farrell in the centres, Billy Burns at 10, Calvin Nash at the wing, Brian Gleeson at number 8. I think he's pretty good. He's pretty exciting. So yeah, there's some quality players playing for Munster, but there's also some for Edinburgh. Ewan Ashton has been relieved of his, has been released from Scotland camp to play this game. Maybe Gregor Townsend think he's not playing enough and needs some game time. So Ewan Ashton starting at hooker for Edinburgh. We've got Muncaster playing in here. Magnus Bradbury, great player. And yeah, obviously Masezi, I hope I said that right, Tupulotu, obviously Sion's brother at 12. So a decent team for Edinburgh, but I think it should be fairly comfortable-ish for Munster. I'd go maybe like a 15-point gap. I think Munster should win this down in Cork. I'm pretty confident on that. Next up, we have the 2 bottom teams of the URC, Zebre Parma taking on the Dragons. Although I say the 2 bottom teams, the Dragons are on a lot lower points tally than Zebre Parma. I think they're on 8 points, Dragons, whereas Parma on about 20. I think Parma are actually closer to Munster than they are to the Dragons, so it's a bit unfair just sort of labelling Zebre Parma as in the bottom 2. But Zebre have got a decent team out. They've got some big sort of established players who maybe aren't in the current Italian squad, like so Luca Bigi playing at number 2. Simone Jay-Z has been released from the Italian squad for this fixture. He obviously played against France at the weekend, so yeah, maybe Gonzalo Quesada wants him to get more game time. We've also got Triller on the bench, which is interesting. So yeah, it's a decent team for Zebre Parma, and at home you'd expect them to beat the Dragons, who have not won a game since a narrow victory on the first day of the season against the Ospreys. Not really any notable players for the Dragons playing this game. Rio Dyer maybe is definitely notable. He's very exciting for Wales. Don't know why he's not picked, but that's just my opinion. Other than that, I would say Zebre Parma should win this. It'll still be pretty close, I think closer than the Munster one I just looked at. Maybe under 10 points gap, whoever wins, but I'm going to go for a Zebre Parma win personally. But let me know what your thoughts are on this game. But look at what's up next. The Lions at home in Ellis Park in Joburg against the Sharks. This is going to be very, very exciting. A big South African clash. And it's going to be very hard to predict this one. It really is. Because it's very hard to sort of tell where all the South African teams are at. I know they're playing more recently during the Six Nations weeks, catching up from the first week or two where they're rested after the Rugby Championship in September. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Hopefully a decent crowd at Ellis Park. I think we could get close to 20,000 here in this game. I mean, Edward van der Merwe is a particular name that stands out for me when I'm looking at this Lions team. But I know they play some nice rugby. They do play some nice rugby when I watch them. What I can. They're not one of the teams I get to see the most of in the URC. Looking at notable names for the Sharks here. Bongi and Banambi starting. Jason Jenkins in the locks. Very good. Sia Mizuku is the halfback pairing with Jaden Hendricks, which is very interesting. Jordan Hendricks moves to 15. Lucanio and Lorenzo Julius, the centre pairing, which is a quality centre pairing. So yeah, lots of quality. And I think I can't remember, it's Tia Cleese and someone else really notable. Oh, Vincent Koch on the bench. So that's pretty, sorry, it's just zoomed into the camera. But that's very, very interesting. I want to say a Lions win, but my heart is saying a Sharks win. The Sharks are doing very well in the URC this year. I think they're 4th. So yeah, I'm going to say a Sharks away win up in Ellis Park. But I think it'll be close. I think it'll be within 10 points again. They're usually close, these South African games. They always get up for a big South African derby, and I cannot wait to. Well, I can't watch this because I'm out at a game tomorrow. But I am very excited to try and record this and watch this on replay. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, I'm sure, in Ellis Park, and just a fantastic game. Let me know, guys, if you're a South African fan watching this, what your opinions are on this game. And next up, we have Leinster at the Aviva taking on Cardiff. Do I even need to review this game? I mean, Leinster are unbeaten this season in the URC. And of course, I need to talk about it because they've lost a lot of their players. A lot of their players are playing for Ireland and they've not been released by Simon Easterby, which is rightly so, really, don't need to be. Notable names playing for Leinster, Jack Boyle and Slimani are the two props. Will Connors and Max Deegan in the back row, both quite good. Ross Byrne at 10, who's obviously just signed for Gloucester next season. That's going to be interesting. And yeah, Jimmy O'Brien at 15. RG Snyman on the bench, always exciting. For Cardiff, I don't really recognise loads of names here. Callum Sheedy, I watched him at Bristol last year. He's a very good player. Nice guy as well. I met him once. I can win it at 15. I don't know why he's not in the Welsh squad. I'd have him in. But overall, I think it'll be a fairly comfortable Leinster win at the Aviva. I'd say close to 20 points, maybe a gap. There, guys, let me know. Do you think Cardiff will cause an upset? Obviously, Leinster just played Ospreys in the last rest week, and it was a lot closer than people expected. So, I know Cardiff are they're like 6th or 7th in the URC this season so far. There's no reason why they can't make this really tight. So maybe I'm underestimating Cardiff here, but I just feel like Leinster should get this done fairly. Maybe lower it down to more like 12 to 15 point gap, but I'm still going to go for a Leinster win at the Aviva. Oh, and the fun doesn't stop. Is this the biggest South African derby in the country? The Bulls at home at Loftus Versfeld, Altitude RFC against the Stormers. And there's some big names out. Look at this. Front row already. Steenekamp, Grobelaar and Wilco Low. That's a fun front three there. Marco van Staden playing for the Bulls as well. Willie LaRue at 10, which is an interesting one. David Creel on the wing there. And number 12, sorry, what was I reading? And Kanan Moody is back. So that's exciting to read. And the Stormers also have some good players out, like Marat, Van Heerden, Fury. Dion Fury is back. I love Dion Fury. I know he's been back a few weeks, but he had that terrible injury at the end of last season. Evan Roost, Ben Jason Dixon. So they've got all the best players they can out, really, here, the Stormers. They're still missing the big players like Marnie Lebok, Sasha, what's the other one? Davian Willinson and more. They're missing quite a few players, the Stormers. So it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, the Stormers lost by a point, 3-4 weeks ago in this reverse fixture down in Cape Town. How will it go this time at Loftus? I've got a sneaky feeling that the Stormers might do it, but, I've not watched much of Willie LaRue at 10. I don't know how he conducts a game at 10 compared to his usual position at 15. I might have to. I think I'm going to go for a Bulls win just because of the home advantage. But again, I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be a one-score game come the full-time whistle within 7 points. But I'm going to go for a Bulls win. But let me know your thoughts because I know there'll be lots of South Africans who will be watching this. Well, hopefully. But I'm definitely caring about this. Hopefully have a full Loftus Versfeld or at least over 40,000 people. Massive ffixture in the URC this weekend. But I'm going to go for a Bulls win. And back up into Ireland, we have Ulster at home in Belfast taking on the Scarlets. And, it's going to be difficult for Ulster. They're coming off from back-to-back losses against the two Italian teams, whereas Scarlets also lost to Munster but then got a win the week before that. So on a bit better form. Scarlets, I think Scarlets are ahead of Ulster in the table. I'm not sure. I should probably check this. I'll check it. I'll put the table at the end of the video. But, it's just be a close game, I think. It'll be a close game. There's some good players out for Ulster. We've got likes of Rob Herring here, Nick Timoney, Jacob Stockdale, some people say my body double. And then Stuart McCloskey. So that's some pretty good established names there in the Ulster team. Nathan Doak on the bench. Not that he's going to make a difference, but I just like saying the name Nathan Doak. And then for the Scarlets, got likes of Ryan Elias there at hooker. Gareth Davies and Owen Lloyd, once a Welsh halfback pairing. Starting for the Scarlets. So I think this will be a really close game. I think it's definitely within 7 to 10 points. I think Ulster have to make a statement victory after their 2 back-to-back losses. So I'm going to go for an Ulster win at home. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts. Should be a close game at Ravenhill. And we're staying in Ireland with Connacht taking on Benetton. All the Irish teams have home games this weekend, I realise. So yeah, Connacht against Benetton. And Benetton will be particularly hurt from all the players they lose to the Italian squad. They're probably the team most affected after maybe Leinster. But Leinster have the depth to really make up for it. Benetton do have some depth though. They got the likes of Ezekiel at 7, who I think is very good. Halafi, who sometimes plays regularly. Thomas Albanos, of course, fantastic for Argentina last year. So yeah, there's some decent players there for Benetton. Rhino Smith's been in fantastic form for the URC side this year. Going over to the home team, Connacht, I mean, they've lost some big players. No Bundiaki, of course, and Mac Hansen, who have been busy with Ireland, really saving Ireland, as Bundiaki has been. Cian Prendergast is probably a notable name, maybe Heffernan there. But yeah, I think it's been another close game, another hard one, I think, to predict. I'm going to say a Connacht win at home, although Benetton have been performing very well in the URC this year, and the Champions Cup. They're doing it on 2 fronts this year, which is fantastic, but they've lost enough players for me to say at home, I'm going to say a Connacht win. A Josh Ioane super, masterclass. And final game of the weekend. It is last year's URC champions, the Glasgow Warriors, at home, taking on the Ospreys. And again, actually, I should have mentioned Glasgow are another team who have lost a lot of players, obviously, to the Scotland squad. So yeah, it's a very much weakened team, as you can see there. And then there's also nothing particularly strong that I can see in the Ulster team. Of course, the legend Justin Tipperick, but he's not the player he once was, really. So yeah, I think it'll be a Glasgow win because the Ospreys team isn't outstanding itself. Both teams are kind of weakened. But yeah, I go for a Glasgow win, maybe about 10-15 points. But let me know your thoughts on this game as well. And just quickly, here is the URC table going into the weekend. Obviously, Leinster, Glasgow, Bulls and Sharks are the top 4. And it's very close in from Munster all the way down to, you could argue, Zebre, or definitely Ulster. It's just 8 points, which is not a lot in rugby. So yeah, Munster, Cardiff, Benetton, Scarlets rounding out the top 8. Edinburgh just outside, and then the Stormers. And as you see there, Connacht, Lions, blah, 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 blah. Dragons all the way at the bottom, doing much worse than any other team this year, sadly, for them and those fans in Newport. But those are my picks for URC round 12. Do let me know what your thoughts are. If you managed to get all the way this far in the video listening to this waffle, please do drop a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 50 subscribers by next weekend so we can go live for some games in the Six Nations. And of course, when the Six Nations is finished, I will be going live for lots of other games. Super Rugby and Premiership will probably be the main ones, but also any URC games that don't clash with the Premiership, I will try and do. And Champions Cup returns in about a month's time. I'll be excited to do content on that as well. But yeah, as I said, if you got this far, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Cheers, guys.